Hello, everybody. I am back with another recipe. I'm finally getting back to baking yesteryear for a little bit. Um, we have two more recipes to make to finish out the 1910s chapter. Um, I'm going to be making those two recipes, one this week, one next week. And then I am kind of pausing again, um, just because I don't want to start a new chapter right before I get into some Christmas holiday themed recipes. Um, so we are going to get back to baking yesteryear for just a little bit and then kind of pause it again and then finish it up in the new year. Um, Today we are making the carrot pie, which I am super excited to make. I've never had carrot pie. Honestly, I've never even heard of carrot pie. Obviously, I've heard of pumpkin pie, sweet potato pie, and this seems fairly similar to both of those. So I am kind of curious about it. I gotta say, I'm not a huge fan of pumpkin pie, but I do like sweet potato pie. So I am curious to see what the carrot pie is going to be like and taste like and how this turns out and everything. Um, so yeah, I think that's about all I've got to say for now. So let's get started with the carrot pie. All right, so for our carrot pie, we have a pie crust here. And once again, this is a button pie crust. This time I did get one that was already in the pie pan, instead of one of the ones that you had to roll out. I do use both. This time I did opt to go for one that was already in the pan. We've got some heavy cream, we've got carrots, some butter, and this will get melted down, but I didn't want to melt it too soon, but the recipe did call for melted butter. In here we have spices. We have salt, which is at the very bottom, and you can't see it, but there is salt in there, I promise. There is cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, and some ginger. We've got some eggs, a little bit of flour, and some brown sugar. We are going to get started with blind baking the pie crust. Um, and then while that is cooking, um, or baking, we are going to start the filling, which will start with cooking up the carrots. I do need to wash and peel these really quick, so I will also get that ready to go, and I will be back. All right, so I do have my pie crust ready for the blind bake. I got my pie weights back in there. Again, the same pie weights that I used last week for the apple butter pie. I got just a little bit to go before my oven is preheated. While I'm still waiting on that, I'm going to finish up with the carrots. I did get them all peeled. I am going to cut them and get them cooking in some water. After I have them all chopped, I will be back. All right, so my pie crust is done with the blind bake. I'm going to let this cool a little bit, then I'm going to take out the pie weights. Over here, I've got my carrots cooking in some water. They are all chopped. Once these are cooked, I am going to drain them and we will continue with the filling. All right, so the carrots are done. I did drain them. We are going to mash them next and then mix in all the other ingredients for the filling and get this pie baking. All right, so I got the carrots all mashed up. I did stick this in the blender to kind of get it mashed up a little bit smoother than what I was able to do with the potato masher. Let's get the other ingredients in here and get this mixed up. We are adding everything else um, to this, all the remaining ingredients. Once I have this mixed up, I will be back. All right, so I have this ready to go. I did put everything back in my blender and mixed it up that way, and it made a nice smooth filling. I really like the way this looks now. The carrots were still a little lumpy when I tried mixing up everything together, so I dumped it all back in the blender and pureed it for about a minute, and it is really nice and smooth looking now. So let's get this in the oven. When it is done, I will be back. All right, so this is the finished carrot pie. I do have to say it looked really good and smelled really good when I took it out of the oven. I am super excited to try it. It has cooled now, and is ready to eat. I am going to serve this with some homemade whipped cream, and after I am done trying it, I will be back with my final thoughts. All right, so I am back with my final thought on the carrot pie. Um, I thought it turned out really well. I did enjoy it a lot more than I thought I was going to. Um, like I said at the beginning of this video, I do like sweet potato pie, but I don't really care for pumpkin pie. So I was a little nervous that I wasn't going to like this pie, but it did turn out really well. Um, it was fairly easy to make. However, if you do make it, or if I make this again, I am definitely using the blender and definitely recommend that you also use the blender. I would recommend kind of mashing up the carrots and then throwing everything in for the filling into the blender and pureeing it till it's nice and smooth. It did create a really nice smooth filling and it baked really well by doing that. Um, so I definitely would recommend doing that if you make it. And like I said, I will definitely be doing that again um, in the future if I make this again. I am also kind of curious to see how like frozen carrots, like the steam in the bag kind, would do with this to see if it would make it a little bit quicker to make. It did take a little while to make. The carrots took a while to cook, and then the pie itself had to bake for about an hour. I do think it is worth it. I am considering making this for Thanksgiving next year. I won't make it this year just because it is really close to Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is in just a couple weeks. Um, this is the beginning of November, so we've got about 3 weeks before Thanksgiving. I don't really want this pie that soon again before Thanksgiving, but it would definitely be a good pie for Thanksgiving or even Christmas if you are someone who likes like the pumpkin pies and everything for Christmas as well as Thanksgiving. This would be a nice option to make for it. Um, so yeah, overall, I was very happily surprised by this. I was curious, wasn't sure how it was going to be, if I was going to like it, but I did end up really enjoying it. Um, Next week, I will be back with the divinity recipe from Baking Yesteryear. Um, I've had divinity, but I've never made it before, so we'll see how that goes. I know it can be a little tricky, but we'll give it a shot. Um, so please like this video if you liked it. Please share it. Please make sure you're subscribed. And until next time, good times, good food. Bye.